Lately, I have been diving into a full face of different brands on my channel, letting you know which things I recommend, which things I don't recommend, if I have any favorites. Sometimes we try a new product, and I got so many requests to do a full face of ABH. So this is going to be Anastasia Beverly Hills, the things that I love, the things that are no longer in my collection, the things that it's not my favorite, but it's okay. And of course, we have the new bronzer. And I got some tea. Is this as gray as the product pictures showed it to be? Or is this something else? Because I got the one who was described as a warm with a golden undertone, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm gonna show you the truth. So one of the things that I think that ABH does really well is foundations. They do have a luminous foundation as well, and I did actually get rid of that one because it is too hydrating and like dewy for my skin type. I am 41 years old, I live a warm and humid climate, and I have an oily combo skin. So that one just ended up being too dewy for me. But my friend, my best friend who lives in Sweden, and she has dry skin, that is her all-time favorite foundation. Like, she loves it. But I also gave her one of my PR samples that I got, because I got this one in PR and I also did get this one in PR. I'm not really on the ABH the list, but I do get some PR every now and then, and I did get this one in PR and I did get this one in PR, but they sent me way too light shades, so that's why I gave it to her. But she used this one as well, and this is the new mattifying foundation. What is it actually called? It's like something blurring, I'm sure, because blurring has been the it word for 2025. This is the Impeccable Blurring Second Skin Matte Foundation. This is beautiful. This is a blurring matte foundation that doesn't dry out your skin. So my friend who is drier than the Sahara can still use this one. This is full coverage. And again, because this isn't really mattifying to the skin, it just looks mattifying, it really doesn't like control my oils. So if I want to wear this for a full day, we're talking like 12 to 15 hours, I do sometimes have to use a mattifying primer underneath, but it doesn't break up. Even though sometimes I can see some oils come through, it doesn't break up, it doesn't look horrible, but it's not controlling my oils, but it does blur and make my skin look matte. But if I want to wear it longer than like 8-10 hours, I do need a mattifying primer, but honestly, this is beautiful. This is one of the biggest surprises I've ever tried. This is their BB stick. This is skin tint in a stick. I have it in shade 7, which is, I'm gonna be honest, way too light for me right now. But this is an oil-based skin tint, and I thought that that was gonna be an absolute mess on my skin, because I'm like, well, I'm oily, I can't use oils. It's actually quite the opposite the more I read up about this. If you have oily skin, wearing something that is water-based might actually turn into what I call skin porridge. This one, even though this doesn't control oils, it doesn't like break up or look weird over the day. It just looks healthy and like you have the best skincare routine in the game. This is a beautiful skin tint on the skin, and I actually really love this one. I have it, like I said, in the shade 7, and this is too light for me now, but I was like, oh, this would have been so great for traveling because I'm traveling soon. But we are going to be doing this foundation, and like I said, I love this one, and we are going to be applying it in the shade 3N. And I'm going to be using a sponge. And I did get, like I said, this in PR, but I got, I think I got 3 or 4 shades, and they were all too light for me. So I ended up buying my shade myself. So technically, I have bought this one myself. I will put all the things that I'm talking about down in the description box, and I will mark out the ones that I got in PR and the ones that I have bought myself. Most of these things I have bought myself. Like I said, I'm not really on the ABH PR list. They send me a package every 6 months, and it's usually not when like a new item drops. Like I did not get the bronzer in PR, for example. You can see this looks incredibly blurry, and it hasn't fully dried down yet, but I'll put this all over my face and then we'll zoom in a bit and I'll show you how blurring and matte this looks, because it is truly a remarkable foundation. I gave the foundation a couple of minutes to dry down so that you can see. This is not a dead matte. It is not glossy or dewy, but you can see it is not a dead matte, but it is dry. Like I can touch this, this is dry, nothing is coming off on my hands. I actually do not, while I'm applying just this, love this drugstore concealer, by the way. This one is almost out. I'm scraping, you can see there's windowing. I'm scraping at the edges. I actually got a new one of this because when I went on my group trip, one of you, thank you so much, gave me a second one of this because I haven't been able to find my shade in the US, but Desiree had been able to find my shade in Germany. So now I have a backup and I can use this one with good conscience. So thank you so much. I am extremely grateful. The ABH concealer, it used to be a favorite of mine. Like, it really used to be a favorite of mine, but I think I even mentioned it as a yearly favorite in like, I want to say 2020 or 2021, or maybe even earlier than that. I think, this is me guessing, I think that ABH is going to release a new concealer either this year or beginning of next year, because it was a long time ago they released the concealer. It was a hit, but it's not that it was a bad concealer. It's just that a lot of other even better concealers was released after, and that's what I said too. I used to love this concealer, but since this concealer has been released, a lot of even better concealers have been released. And I think that it is a full coverage hydrating concealer that is, according to my preferences right now, just a little bit too hydrating to be a favorite for me, which means that sometimes if I end up using a little bit too much, I either will get creasing or I will have to use more powder than I want to. But not a bad concealer, but I would be deeply surprised if we do not see a new concealer from ABH. I'm actually going to be using the Kosas powder. I recently got this one as PR from Kosas. I did a sponsorship with Kosas for their concealer, which I also really, really love. And they sent me a couple of other products as well. Not sponsored, but they were like, maybe you want to try some more Kosas, which I'm extremely grateful for. And you know what? This loose powder, I'm using it in like just a lid like this. It's kind of nice. It has a little bit of color to it. It's not cakey under the eyes, and it sets down makeup really nice. I just thought I'd say that. I have not tried the ABH loose powder. Same here. I would not be super surprised if ABH releases another powder. Again, I would not be surprised if we saw an ABH new concealer and maybe even a pressed powder, because pressed powders are making a little bit of a comeback. I would not be surprised if we saw that. Honestly, it feels like a January release, because a lot of mainstream makeup brands will release complexion products in January. I don't know if you noticed that. Now you're going to think about that next year. A lot of foundation, complexion products, concealers, powders come out in January. And I would not be surprised if we saw, I actually think maybe this foundation came out in the beginning of the year. I would not be surprised if we see an ABH concealer and maybe even a powder beginning of 2026. I'm going to do my brows. This is my favorite brow product. This is the one that I use every day, every time I do my brows, unless I'm trying out something else. This is the one I use. So I'm using the one, I think this one is called the Brow Definer. It's the one that has the bigger tip, because I like, this one has a spoolie as well, and I have mine in Strawburn, right? Yeah, it's called Strawburn, which is a light, almost like a strawberry blonde. If you are either a natural redhead, or if you're like a strawberry blonde, or if you have like even dyed your hair a lighter red like I do, I cannot recommend Strawburn more. It is the most perfect brow color for light, warm brows that are, you can tell, a little bit of that ginger color without being orange. And it looks so natural. And it's just is the best brow color for a ginger brows ever. Because you can tell it is warm, but that is not orange. It's such a good color. Like, I cannot recommend Strawburn enough. I do not have one of the pen, because I'm going to use the one from NYX. The one that is like one of these where I draw in hairs, because that's what I do. I don't have that one from ABH. I did try it in store, and my initial impression was this is not opaque enough for how I used to like how I use those pens, because I want to be able here we go. I want to be able to draw in hairs, and for that to work out, I need it to be opaque enough to actually mimic a hair when it gets on my brows. Because this is what I do. I just flick in hairs. You can see that. So it needs to be opaque enough to actually look like a hair when I'm drawing it in. That looks so good. I actually have a new product from ABH. This one I did get in PR. Don't think I got this from ABH. I think I got it in some goodie bag somewhere. I'm not 100% sure. But this is a newer product. This is the Brow Freeze Gel. So I didn't love the Brow Freeze. It was the one in the pot. Do you remember that one? Because I didn't think it dried down. But we're gonna see if this one does. I've never tried this one. This is gonna be a first impression together with that bronzer. Okay, let's see how this one works out. It looks clear. Just smells like glue, honestly. The applicator is very interesting. Because I'm feeling like we should apply it like this with the comb. And I like to push it forward in the front. And I guess we could laminate with the flat side. And like push it down, because you see there's a flat side. So you can like brush it in and then push it down. Okay, so I like werewolf brows, okay? I like my brows to be a little wild and bushy. So I don't mind that. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry down and we can see how this is. I have a lip oil on right now. I'm using the Icy Lip Oil in Cucumber from Fenty. Been really enjoying that one. I'm gonna wipe that off as well so that we can do a little bit of lippies. Because if there's one thing that is probably some of my most used products in my collection, it is my lippies from ABH. That's holy grail. Okay, I wanted it to dry down a little bit. You know what? Wait a dang minute. I've had this in my basket of things I should be trying for at least a month. This is good. It is like a lot of stability. Like this is not going anywhere, but it's not like crunchy to the point like you could break the hairs. I'm actually kind of impressed. That's really cool. So hear me out. I have 3 like contour and bronzing products. Of course I have the new bronzer, but I also have the new contour stick. And this one is the medium shade. This is like a cool toned, like a neutral cool tone brown without too much gray. So we actually can use it as a contour even if you have a warmer undertone, because I do have a warmer undertone. And then I have the cream bronzer. This one is a little bit older and I probably should declutter this because this is pretty old, but this is the cream bronzer in golden tan. And you can see this is a golden shade and this is a cool tone shade. It is a big difference. This is a really, really good shade for me. And you can tell this one is just, I mean, it's cool toned in comparison. But then we have, let's have a peek at the new bronzer. So this is a Smooth Blur Bronzer in Tropical Tan. Let me bring out the description so I can read to you what the actual description is. Tropical Tan, medium to tan with warm golden undertones. And I'm gonna be honest with you, this is not cool toned, and I've not seen these in store because I wanted to go into store and see these just to be like, are they as gray in picture, like in real life, as they were in picture? But you know what? This is, and again, this is the cool tone one. You can definitely see that there is a difference in like the undertone of this one. I have not seen the other ones. I've only seen this one, but I would agree that this is a medium to tan with a warm golden undertone. It is not orange, it is not red, it is more golden, but it is like a neutral golden. It's not overly warm. I just think the pictures of this one was not well represented. I did actually bring out, this is my favorite golden undertone bronzer, and this is Private Island by Fenty, and you can tell this is a favorite. This one is a medium with a golden undertone. So this one is supposedly a little lighter than the ABH one. And you can tell the ABH one is a little bit more neutral than the Fenty one for sure. I'll even show you swatches side by side. but I don't think the ABH one looks cool toned compared to the Fenty one. I just think the Fenty one is more an overly warm. So I cannot speak for all the shades. I can only speak for this one. And I will say, I do think the description of this one, medium to tan with a warm golden undertone, is a pretty true description. If you keep in mind that this is not an orangey or red warm, it is not like overly warm. And I say that as someone who haven't even tried this one as I'm saying this, but just with me opening the compact, I felt surprised in a good way. So that's just like my impression of that one from this. I do like the cream bronzer from ABH. There's a lot of product in this one. I actually think it's really good quality. We're of course going to use the powder one. The contour stick, I could have used this one today together with the bronzer, but I want to use the bronzer on its own. I think the quality of this one is okay. I don't use a lot of contours, but I will say this is not the most easily blendable contour stick I have tried. I think that they made a good compromise with the shades, because again, it is not super cool toned to the point where you cannot use it if you have a warmer undertone like I do, but it's still not a warm color. So I think they had a good compromise with the color. But with that being said, I like the compact more than I like the actual formulation of the product. But let's go into this one. And am I using the right brush? I am. And let's see what we can get. Yeah, I can definitely tell that this is again a more neutral bronzer with a warmer undertone, but it's definitely not like overly warm, and it's definitely not like orange or like red, which for me is good because I do not want a bronzer that is having red tones in there. There's definitely pigment to the formula, but it's not overly pigmented, but it is definitely a buildable formula. I think it blends out pretty good. I don't feel like it's tugging to my skin in any way. And again, it has like a matte finish, but it doesn't look dry or feel like cakey. So that is me with bronzer on half my face, and I think that that looks really good. I'm gonna be honest with you. Again, I have a warm undertone, or like I have a neutral golden undertone, and I say that because I don't have a yellow undertone. Sometimes foundations are too yellow for me, but I also don't have a true neutral undertone because sometimes neutral undertones tend to look gray or peach on me. So that's why I say I have a neutral golden undertone. But I definitely lean much more warmer than I do cooler. Cool tone foundations do not work on me, but I also don't have a red undertone. But you can tell this bronzer definitely looks like a bronzer on me, but it doesn't look orange. And again, I've only tried this shade. I have not seen the other shades in store, but I can say definitely this one looks way better in real life than it did on those product photography. I can tell you that right now. Okay, I don't know about you, but I think that that looks really beautiful. And again, I did buy the medium to tan, and I am definitely not a tan skin tone, but I did buy that because this one said that it had a golden undertone, and I have a golden undertone. And I did build up quite a bit now so that you can see how it looks. And I think that this looks honestly quite gorgeous. Again, I have not seen the other shades. Definitely check out other shades if this is not the one you were interested in, but I definitely don't think that this one looks great in any way, shape, or form. I don't have the new cream blushes because they were described and I saw the swatches of them and they looked a little like dewy. And I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna get that. But also because I already have this one, and this one is great. And this is one of their shimmery blush sticks. I did have one of their highlighters as well in this formula, but I think I got rid of that one because it was a little bit sparkly, but this one is beautiful. So this is their blush stick, and this one is in bubblegum. So you can see this is a shimmery pink. This is stunning. And I haven't used this in quite a bit, which is honestly a crime. A crime against the makeup gods because this is stunning. And I'm gonna use this one because while I apply this, I don't have a single highlighter left from ABH. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I never had the Amrezy highlighter, so I'm not talking about that one. I've never tried that one. But I tried the iced highlighter, I've tried the cream highlighter, I have tried the highlighter palettes, and the only formula that I actually really liked from ABH was those highlighter palettes. I got rid of mine because, I mean, it was old as sin, okay? It was old as sin. So I got rid of that one. Look at how beautiful that is. Look. That is stunning. Like I said, this is bubblegum. Those palettes really were, they were that girl, okay? Those were great. But I don't love a face palette, and I would love for them to release that formula in like little duos or like little like singles. I don't even know, because I just don't use a highlighter palette. I forget about them, and I never rebought any of the highlighters for that reason, because I'm like, I don't want a highlighter like that. But I think, and I've said that before, and I'm saying it again for the people in the back, highlighters are making a comeback. 2026. 2025 is already shaping up to be the year of the highlighter. You have seen so many brands release highlighters. So again, I would not be surprised if ABH were to release another highlighter either. But I think that every brand that you have not seen release a highlighter in 2025, they're gonna release them. Give it 1 year and they will have all released it, just like it was with setting sprays. You're now gonna be seeing highlighters left, right, and center. Watch this space. Okay, before we get into lip products, I am actually going to use the Impeccable Setting Spray. And this is a mattifying and like long lasting. Is it mattifying or just long lasting? Blurring matte setting spray. No, it is a mattifying long lasting spray. The spritz is delightful. It's like not too misty. It smells like a day at the spa. This one I did actually get in PR, but I'm going to be honest with you. This is a really nice spritzer, it's a really beautiful packaging, and it is a really nice finishing spray. So I love the ABH lip liners. You can tell how many I have. You can tell this one has been used a lot. The ABH lip liners and the liquid lipsticks, the new formula. The old formula, dry as the Sahara, okay? Somebody give that old formula liquid IV because it is parched, okay? Lip glosses, they're fairly nice, but they're either too sparkly or too opaque. I don't like a fully opaque lip gloss. If you like a fully opaque lip gloss, the ABH ones would be for you. Those colors are opaque, not for me. The lip liners though, beautiful. They have so many good colors, and they are the perfect like balance between creamy but not overly creamy, pigmented but not too pigmented. It is just a really great formula that you can be bold with. They last for forever, but you can also go in and feather it in. You can blur it out. It is just beautiful. Absolutely love it. I have so many colors. All of these colors are great. I don't love this color though. This color is Baby Roses. This one is too light for me, but if you have a fair skin tone, I think Baby Roses will be your perfect shade. I will say the unsung hero is definitely Caramel. This is again like a ginger beige. If you love a warm lip color but you don't want to have a red or an orange, Caramel is your baby. Since I have like a pink cheek on and I'm actually going to be using a little bit of cool tones on the eyes, I know, who am I? I am going to be doing Muted Mauve, which is for me, it's like a pink lip liner, but it's mostly beige. It's just a beige with a little bit of a mauve undertone. It's actually beautiful. Oh, I overlined a lot, but that's okay. As you can see, you can really blur this one out. Honestly, it's quite a beautiful formula, and sometimes these are on sale on the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty. Definitely, I bought a couple of colors when they're on sale. Definitely keep an eye open for that. So these soft, I think they're the soft lip velvets. That's what they're called, lip velvets. I don't know where I got the blurring from, but this is a blurring ultra matte lip color that is blurring on the lips. It is opaque, but you can also just blur it out and have like a soft fade. It doesn't dry down. So this is a matte liquid lipstick that doesn't dry down, so it is not transfer proof, but it looks dead matte, and it is long wearing and it looks beautiful. I absolutely love this formula. It's one of my favorite formulas in my collection. They're just so great. I think I'm gonna do, I love the two darker, warmer colors. It is Parchment and what is the other one? something peach amber, yeah. Parchment and peach amber, they're beautiful. They're warmer and a little bit darker. I also love this one that is peachy nude. I think we're going to use this one today. It is like a cool toned, slightly peachy beige. I have a couple of like more pinky colors too, and I actually use the Pure Hollywood a lot. Is that this one? Yeah. And this one is like more, maybe we'll do the Pure Hollywood actually. Because it is like, do you remember Pure Hollywood, how popular that was in the liquid lipstick formula? This is that color, but in a better formula. It is like a, you can see like cool toned light beigey mauve, and it is, look at that. And do you see what I mean? That it is like a dead matte formula, but it is like not drying down, but it looks matte on the lips, super comfortable. You can like mush your lips together, and it's just, I love this formula. It's one of my favorite formulas in my collection, and every time I'm traveling, I travel with at least one color. I just think they're that good. Let's talk about the eyeshadows. This is going to be like the last thing. Let me put some brushes away. This is going to be the last thing we talk about with ABH. I have actually tried one of their mascaras. I've tried this one, and it is a really good volumizing mascara, but I don't use or love volumizing mascaras. I love a lengthening and curling mascara. But if you love a volumizing mascara, I actually thought it was good for that. So I have two palettes in my possession from ABH. I've always thought that ABH has good quality eyeshadows. I don't always agree with their color stories. So what I have, which is the Nouveau palette, are the two color stories that I actually still like. So the Nouveau palette is this color story. I honestly think this is a beautiful color story. The colors are stunning and the quality is beautiful, and it's like neutrals with an unexpected twist. I think they're absolutely beautiful. I also really love the Sugar palette. This is one of those mini palettes, and this one is like a, almost like a pastels with some cool tone neutrals and a little pop of like berries down here. I've really like both qualities of these are really good, and these you can find sometimes on sale as well. I will say the quality of the other eyeshadow palettes that I've tried have been on par, but the color stories haven't been as good, according to me, as I think that these are the ones that are still in my collection. So I want to do something that is a little bit more on the cool toned. So I'm thinking we're going to use a little bit of Wisteria, but I think we're going to use maybe Wisteria and like the berry one. This one has some shimmer in it, but since I'm doing a shimmer look, it doesn't really matter that much. So I think Wisteria and then this one. Again, I love mixing and matching palettes. If you have not tried that in your collection, it is such a fun way of just finding new color stories. I'm using the Sigma eye primer. I haven't tried the ABH eye primer. I've heard mixed reviews of it. Some people loving it, some people not. What I've heard is that it is a very light color. But if you have not tried mixing and matching palettes and creating your own color stories on your eyes, I 100% recommend. So I'm gonna do Wisteria all over my crease. Picks up really, really beautiful. And I'm just gonna push that into my crease. This is an EO8, so this is perfect for both blending out when you want to get like cover a bigger area. And you want to get a lot of color payoff as well, because it is dense in the middle and then it flares out, so it will pack on color and blend at the same time. I'll use this color under my eyes too. Look at how beautiful this is. So I'm gonna close this one for now, and we are gonna go into that burgundy shade in the Sugar palette. And I am gonna do a smaller brush, and we are gonna start darkening up the outer corner. This is like a very smoky black and berry. I hope that these can look a little purple together. I am not gonna make this an overly dramatic look, so I'm only gonna do this darker shade out in the outer corner. That is my goal. I'm gonna blend up with a little bit of the Wisteria, and then I think we can do shimmers. So this is the purple shimmer in this small palette. This one right here. That's this one. So we are gonna put that on the lid. I think that's gonna be really good. I don't know what possessed me to do a purple like lavender look today, but I guess that is where we are going. I just thought it was such a long time since I've used the Wisteria shade, and I knew it was so good, so I wanted to. I'm also gonna use this one. It's like a pale pastel pink, I'm gonna use that in my inner corner. I'm gonna do a little bit more with an EO7 of that like dark plummy shade. And I'm just gonna do like a little bit of like almost like a fall liner out in the outer corner and just maybe smudge it out a little bit. I just want to have like a super dark outer corner like that, like a little wedge in. That is really nice. And now we're doing that pastel pink in the inner corner and a little bit on the inner part of the lid as well. I just really want to have it like super bright in here. And a little bit here, I think, too. I'm really gonna blow it out with this pink. I'm actually really... Oh, look at that. It's like a pastel pinup. Okay, so I finished up the eye look. I have some false lashes on. And we are gonna finish it up with an eye pen from the Norvina collection. Do you remember this? This was... When was this? Was this 2017 or was it 2016? The shit show that was like the Norvina part of the ABH thing when she was doing her own thing. I think Norvina got to be so famous as like a beauty guru herself. So she made her own line with ABH. But the launch of it was just a mess. It was too many palettes coming out at the same time. All of those palettes were overshadowing the collabs that the main brand was having. And at this point, you can still see the remnants of this Norvina line within the ABH, at least on their website. They have a couple of lashes left. They're all that like 2016 extreme bold like caterpillar lashes. I bought this eye pen. I don't even know if they still sell this, but this one I bought because it is actually a pastel pink, and a pastel pink eye pen I use every now and then. So I thought with the eye look that we have on today, this will make sense. This is not like overly super creamy, but when you build it up, it does build and it lasts all day. Overall, I think that ABH still makes incredible products, but for a bunch of different reasons, I just don't think they're as hyped as they were back in the day. I also think that when ABH released like the Modern Renaissance palette and a lot of the things that they were really hyped for, like the highlighters, not only were they ahead of the trends, they were the ones creating the trends. And now I feel like they're more a mainstream makeup brand in the form that they are kind of just following the trends that are happening as they are unfolding. And I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing. Sometimes it isn't a bad thing to be a brand that's just sustainable when you are as big as ABH is now, because they are literally in brick and mortar stores all over the world. And with that being said, I mean, I think you can see, I mean, everything looks really beautiful. I am really excited about these products. Not everything that they release is amazing, but they do release a lot of really high quality products. And I gotta say, the bronzer, I think it looks really incredible. I think it looks really good. It is really interesting though. We had this discussion about, or I have the bronzer, about like how come they look so incredibly gray on the pictures that they were releasing. And the owner of ABH, who is Anastasia, she was saying that the product pictures on Sephora website, Sephora takes their own product pictures, did not fully represent the product. And I will say, at least this one here, it's definitely not a cool tone bronzer. It doesn't look gray. Again, I haven't seen the other ones, so there could be some truth to that. I say that as, again, someone who's only seen one of the shades, because brands that are sold at Sephora, I do think to the most part, Sephora does take their own in-house product photography. And as someone who owns her own beauty brand and has sold at retailers much smaller, of course, I don't really get a say in the product photography that they take of my products. They have already bought my products, they've paid for my products. How they want to promote my products, it's kind of up to them. But also sometimes bad promo is also promo. And I mean, I did buy this bronzer because I wanted to see, is it gray? But yeah, I'm actually really, really impressed with how this bronzer is looking, and I am packing for my vacation. So maybe I'll pack this bronzer. As you're seeing this video, I might actually have already left for the airport and I'm heading out. Please let me know what you think about these products. Do you have a favorite product from Anastasia that I have not tried or that I didn't mention in this video? I would love to hear all about it. And also, do you think that I am incorrect in my assumption that one of the next products that ABH is going to be releasing is a concealer? I can see in my crystal ball that I do think that that is going to be happening. Let me know which brand you would like to see next. I feel like I'm on a roll. I've tried so much makeup, and if I can be anywhere close to helpful in doing like somewhat of a brand rundown where I go through a full brand, I love to be that person. I've heard suggestions of Charlotte Tilbury. I've heard suggestions of Makeup Forever and Huda Beauty. Let me know if there's any other brands that you're interested in. I would love to keep on filming these. If you like them, give them a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you real soon in a new video.